So today I just want to take a quick second to introduce who I have with me. I have Diane Hegland and Bob Kelly. Diane is the principal at Dimensional Research, and Bob Kelly is actually the founder of appdeploy.com and ITNinja. So a little bit more about Bob. Bob is actually a 22-year industry vet. He's worked for a very exclusive tech team in the White House for several years. So that is him with Clinton. That isn't just a photo op. He's also the author of several books, and he is a Microsoft MVP, and he's co-authored some user guides with Microsoft. Diane Hegland is the principal at Dimensional Research. She works exclusively with IT professionals, and her surveys and results have been widely quoted in the media. She comes with a background in mathematics, and she's excellent at what she does. So just a little bit about what's going on today. First, we're going to look at some of the survey results that Diane did. We conducted a survey about IT and online communities. And then after that, Bob Kelly is going to take over, and he's going to introduce ITNinja.com and do a walkthrough. After which, we're going to have a Q&A session. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Diane.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm really delighted to be here with you today to present some of the findings from the survey that we did. As Lisa said, I am the principal at Dimensional Research, a market firm that works with technology professionals. So what I do is I spend my days talking to IT professionals about their technology and about their processes. And so this survey was really exciting to me to have the opportunity to step out of the internal IT organization and take a closer look at what happens when IT professionals interact together outside of their own companies. So before we share the findings, let's talk a little bit about what we did. So the goal of this particular survey was to really quantify and put hard numbers around the value that IT professionals get from IT communities. I think generally everyone knows they're a good thing, they're very active, there's a lot of them, but can we quantify some of that value to see what's happening? So what we did is we did an online survey. We emailed people and invited them to respond. Those are the results I'm going to show you. And there were two really important things about this survey. The first is that we did not offer any incentive to the people who participated in the survey, except to give them a copy of the final report. There was no gift certificates or points or anything like that. So everyone who completed this survey had no motivation except an interest in IT communities. So the quality of the responses were absolutely excellent. What I'm showing you today comes from a survey that was conducted just last month, so this information is hot off the presses. It was the second in a series, though. We did the first survey, also sponsored by Dell KACE, in 2007. So we looked at some of the same questions 5 years later to take a look at some of the trends with IT communities, and we'll be able to share that with you. We had an excellent response. We had over 670 people who completed the surveys that gave us a sample size with, so we could look at different roles, different industries, different company sizes to see what's going on. So the full report of the survey is available, I know, from the Dell KACE website. If you're interested, I'd encourage you to download that, and I will be sticking around. If you have questions, please ask them, and I'll be able to answer that during the Q&A. But I think just to summarize, we saw, these IT communities have a very, very high level of participation among IT professionals. We saw that the benefits they get are very significant, very measurable. But they do have room to improve. We're seeing that there's some accuracy and trust issues that are going in the wrong direction, and we see that there's a feeling that people have to really hunt around in order to solve their problems. That's it from me. I would like to now pass it to Bob. I'm really fascinated by what Bob Kelly and the team are doing with ITNinja, and I'm excited to hear more. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Diane. Really appreciate that. Some good information and helped us to justify our direction that we've been taking here with AppDeploy. App Deploy, first off, it's been around for 13 years. 5 years ago, it was acquired by Case. 2 years ago, Dell was acquired Case, and all that time, I've always wanted to enhance the site, do more with it, offer more features. But there's never enough time in the day. I know everybody can identify with that. So I was very excited to be given the opportunity to take App Deploy to the next level. And in doing so, there was a bunch of features that were long overdue, largely due to the fact that App Deploy had been put together before there was such thing as tagging or blogging or anything. It was a completely custom designed website. So being able to modernize it and update the features was definitely something I was excited to do. But at the same time, while the success of App Deploy was largely due to the fact that it was the place to come talk about application deployment, people often wanted to ask related questions. So, application deployment is very specific. Systems administration, less so, but definitely a lot of overlap. And so with our investment in a new community and the time and money it would take to do so, the decision was made that we needed to be able to expand beyond the one niche topic. And that's the reason for the name change. I've had a lot of people ask me about that, so I wanted to get that out front first. This is still going to be a deployment-focused community. It's going to be a sysadmin-focused community, but with the changes we've made, it now has the ability to grow organically into those tertiary and secondary areas that the community wants to go in. So I'm very excited about the changes. So of course we're going from a deployment focus to more of an IT pro focus. Another big change is the move from traditional discussion forums or message boards to a more modern Q&A system where you ask a question, people submit answers, you can rate them up and down, mark it as answered. I'll show this off in a little bit. Also, one of the most popular areas on App Deploy has been the package knowledge base. And that's a place where on an individual version, major version of different software, people could share deployment tips. And now we've positioned ourselves, it's still just deployment tips today, but we've positioned ourselves to be able to talk to other relevant items like error numbers related to specific software or virtualization experiences with certain software. It's a good jumping point for us to be able to share information on other things related to software. And ITNinja is a very software-focused website, as you'll see. Also on App Deploy, the only place that you could really participate as a member was the package knowledge base, and I moderated all of those entries, and then the user forums, where I did not, thankfully, moderate that because it was very active, but I did watch and take care of spam and have those fun tasks. But as far as being able to contribute, you're kind of limited to the forum. So if you wanted to share information, you could just post it as opposed to a question and get feedback, but it really wasn't solicited. So with ITNinja, there's lots of different ways to contribute. People can now post their own blog entries, how-to documents, stories and experiences with software, comparisons, and then also share links. And I'll show all of this, so I won't go into it now. But I'm also pretty excited to be able to introduce a fun reputation management system. Another thing that I always felt App Deploy was lacking was a way to highlight those people that participate so actively in the community and really deserve the recognition. And finally, the site is put together in such a way that we're going to be able to rapidly address feedback and release new versions. So unlike a typical product where you would wait for a quarterly release or maybe semi-annual or annual release, we have a dedicated agile development team focused on enhancing and correcting any problems you experience with the site on an ongoing basis. So as frequently as every 2 weeks, we are positioned to be able to release these enhancements and new features. So to that, I say, please continue providing feedback. There's a feedback button on the side of every page of the site. We've had a lot of feedback so far, which I'm very happy about. We've also got contact forms, and I've been getting lots of very valuable feedback that we're going to be taking action on right away. One very cool feature of the site that we need to do a better job of exposing, so I'm definitely going to talk about it and show it to you here in a little bit. But when you're browsing around the site, you can follow topics, you can follow other members, you can follow software, and even specific versions of software. And then, based on what you're following, you have your own personalized activity feed. So much like Facebook is probably the place where you go to see the feed of what's going on in your personal life with your friends and family, ITNinja is trying to be the place where you'll come to find out what's going on in your IT professional world, what's going on with the software that you care about or the topics that you care about. Obviously, it's actionable information, and we've got a lot of open conversations on various topics, and that all goes to you as participants. ITNinja is not a place where we have writers that are feeding this information. We're providing this as a service and a platform for you to be able to share with each other. So we're very thankful at the community's participation in making that happen. And then, along the lines of the survey results, we do, for those that are Dell KACE customers, provide a feed from the ITNinja community into the KACE console. So if you're trying to deploy a specific version of a product, then the leading deployment tips associated with that software are shown contextually within the product. Point-based reputation system. So, like I said, I always wanted to do this, so I'm pretty excited about it. We've even got some budget for some prizes to make it even more fun. But the idea really is that for whatever you do on the site, you get points, whether that be rating something or writing something. And then, to make some fun with it, the more points you accumulate, the more you move up in belt rank. And then at different milestones along the way, we have some free prizes to give away: stickers, T-shirts, and even a ITNinja embroidered black belt, which is going to be given to the first 100 people who make it to black belt. Not an easy task, but pretty cool. It's going to come in a plastic logoed case, kind of as a trophy that you can set on your desk there as a trophy of that accomplishment. For those that have had app deploy accounts, and I hope that's the majority of the people listening, you all get a head start. So for one thing, anything that you contributed on app deploy has been migrated, and for everything that you contributed, you've been given points on your account. So if you wrote 10 articles, answered 10 questions rather, you'll get points for that. The points that have been provided to people through this migration process is based on a curve. So there were a couple of very high-performing individuals in the community, VBS Cab, that probably ruined that curve for a lot of people, but safe to say everybody that contributed got points for that. And anyone that had an app deploy account at all has been given an app deploy patch. And an app deploy patch is a virtual patch that's worth 125 points. So you're starting off with a nice head start over those that are coming to the site for the first time. So we hope that's a bit of incentive to help you get your next belt, reach the next milestone, and hopefully get one of these free prizes. Now with that, I know you don't want me talking to slides all day, so let's take a look at the site. All right, here we go. I've been asked to go a little slow because I think if you have a slow connection, it might be trouble for you to experience the full motion video here. But if you do have trouble or have trouble watching it, know that there'll be a recording later and you can always come back and see it. On the home page, One thing we wanted to bring to attention right away is that this is the what was apt deploy, and we have an apt deploy FAQ. So this apt deploy FAQ answers a lot of questions about the name change, what happened to your account, and so forth. Speaking of which, your user account, your credentials, have all been migrated along with all the content of the site. But where to find material that you are familiar with on apt deploy is all spelled out here with links to help you drill into that information. So do take a look at that resource. Deployment tips are probably the most sought after material on the site. We've had a package knowledge base, as it was called. It's a very popular feature of the site. To get to that, you just go to Research and choose Deployment Tips. We've kind of broken down the navigation of the site to Ask. Just clicking that will get you questions. Ask a question, of course, a form to enter one. And then research the different things we have and share the different things we have. You get your most popular stuff on top. We also have packages with tips recently added, and if I were following any software, I would see some whatever recent updates are available for software that I'm following. This list here is what was the alphabetical list on apt deploy, and we have gotten some feedback that people missed that, and we'll be looking to address that shortly. But for now, you could scroll as an alphabetical list, but you can also just type into it and shorten the list. So it's much easier to find something than scrolling or trying to find it in an alphabetical list. Let's take a look at iTunes here. This is a software page. The software page is what we had for a detail page in the package knowledge base previously. Some big enhancements right up front. You can follow this software. You can follow this version 6 that I selected. You can jump to other software by the same company. And I'll upfront admit that the tags and the software references aren't as clean as we need them to be, and we're taking active measures to clean up the database so it's easier to find things and there's less apparent duplicates. But you can rate the software with Ninja stars, of course. We've got it tagged with its company. And right here you can ask a question, write a blog post, or share a link on this software. So when you click that, you would automatically have the tag for iTunes already applied, and you can go ahead and ask your question or share your link at that point. You can now jump between different versions of software. So just picking another version will take you to that version because deployment details are, of course, very deployment specific. So if the one version is often very different than the next version, and especially when it comes to things like download links and difficulty ratings and so forth. So you have our difficulty ratings. This was carried over from apt deploy, so many of you are probably familiar with that. One new thing that we've added is the idea of a deployment tip summary. A lot of these products have so many tips provided that it could be pretty time-consuming to scroll through and see people maybe saying very similar things or even in some places contradicting one another, and it becomes hard to know what information you really need. Oftentimes people just want what's the silent command line to install, what's the silent command line to uninstall, and now those can be provided as a deployment tip summary that'll show right up here on the top of the page. And it's a community-contributed field, kind of like a wiki field, so anybody can come in and help us tailor that. You can tab between the different content types, different command lines. And then this is also home to anything else tagged with this software. So there's a couple questions that happen to be tagged with iTunes. If there were any blog posts or links, they show up here as well. So now the software page is kind of a jumping point for anything to do with this software. Let's take a look at search. when you type into the search box in the navigation, you actually land on this keyword search results. And the keyword search results are much like the search results you saw on App Deploy, where we're using a Google custom search engine. So those that enjoyed that type of search experience, we still have it. But if you go over to this search by tag, this is where you can search for items based on tag. And everything's to be tagged. We've got over 350,000 different tags. So as you type, you get back, you see in this case I've just typed win, and I've got over 8,000 tags found. I'm happy that our developers were able to make this very quick, but it is an awful lot of information. So what we do is we provide these results in a popularity-based fashion. So topics, tags that are topics come out on top, followed by software, or followed by companies rather, then software, then specific versions of software. And we need to introduce a legend to show this off, but the topics are yellow, versions are orange, software is blue, and companies are green. So, and like I said, we do have some data cleanup to do. So, you will find things here and there that don't look quite right. So Windows installer, that's a popular one. I'm looking for Office, that's another popular title or popular topic. So I can search for anything that's tagged with these two items. Under advanced options, I can limit that. I can say I just want to see results for blogs, links. I only want to see Q&A questions that haven't been marked as answered. Minimum number of answers. There's a bunch of different things that are pretty self-explanatory here in terms of being able to narrow your search to return just what you want. Up front, you get all the results, just a top few from each category, and then the different tabs will give you the specific items that relate to the tags that you've searched upon. But one very cool thing that might be easy to overlook that I wanted to be sure to show is that you can save your search as a custom filter. So I'm going to save this one as Office Stuff. And now that that's saved, when I come to the search page, I see my personal filter. And so I can click on that and get right to the results of that search next time I come back. And also you'll notice that there's a little RSS icon next to that. So I can make a very tailored search for the things that I care about and then create an RSS feed that I can subscribe to in my email software or newsreader software. So I think that's a feature that a lot of people are going to be pretty happy with. For questions, we have our new Q&A system. You can see here what we happen to have featured at the time, and this will change regularly. We have popular questions based on views and ratings and so forth. Recently asked questions and recently answered questions. And for all of these, you can click Show More and get and drill more into those results. Our most popular tags are across the top. Anywhere you see these yellow bricks, as we refer to them, these will take you to tag-based search results, like we were just looking at. When you want to browse questions, you do need to be in search. We don't have a traditional browse for questions right now, and that's something that we've gotten your feedback on that most people would like to see that introduced very shortly. What we do have right now is topic-based browsing. So many of the subjects on the site have been classified as topics. In this menu here, we just chose some of the more popular ones that we have good content for, but we have a much longer list here that you can drill into and hopefully find what it is you're looking for. If you don't, we have links around the site and through feedback and contact forms to encourage us to create new topics and tags. But what we have here is for package development. This is a very popular forum, or was a very popular forum on AppDeploy. So the package development forum was probably the most active, and this would be the replacement home for that. So under topics, you choose package development, and here's all the recent questions that have been tagged with that. All the content that was migrated from the package development forum have been tagged package development, but new material does need to be tagged by the author. So what we're finding is a lot of people aren't tagging things right now. It'll be a required field shortly, but the tags aren't required right now. So what we end up with is cases where people just went ahead and submitted without a tag, and by not tagging it, it wouldn't show up in a list like this or in tag-based search results. So I highly encourage you, if you're contributing anything at all, to tag it as best you can. But as a moderator, after the fact, I am coming through looking for content that hasn't been tagged, reviewing what tags were selected, and trying to improve upon that. Obviously, we'll be introducing more and more features with our dedicated staff in the future in terms of recommending tags or finding tags in what you've typed and making this easier to do in more guide fashion. This is a question, so you can ask your question here. You provide your details to the question here, and then it can be marked as answered, or in this case it's already marked as answered, so I can mark it as unanswered. And just like the deployment tips, you can enter a answer summary. So in this case, the question was too long to read, but the answer was that he ended up combining the use of the force flag and that registry value to solve this problem. So I can enter that as the answer. I won't do it. I'm talking with one hand, so I'm not going to try and fumble through this. But that's how you enter a answer summary, which I think is going to be very helpful, especially in those questions where there was a lot of back and forth necessary to arrive at an answer. But as you'd expect, you've seen similar systems to this. You can vote answers up and down, and then the most popular answer will rise to the top. You can write comments. You can also reply to comments. So we have a threaded discussion right here within the questions. And also, there was a comment feature I didn't point out earlier in the tips section when you're sharing deployment tips. One other thing I wanted to share, there's really just too much to go over. There's an intro video on the site if you go to the About page, and I'll be writing more and more blogs and hopefully videos as well to help illustrate some of the different benefits of the site and ways you can use it. But sharing a link, I think, is something that a lot of people can make immediate use from and get value from right away. Because AppDeploy hasn't been a place where you can blog, I know most people have found a home to do so elsewhere, either WordPress or Blogger or some other blog site. Add a link to your blog on ITNinja so people can find it. Describe it, tag it appropriately, and people will find it in their tag-based search results and come visit your site. And then once they are able to find your link, there'll be a place for them to come and rate the link and comment about it and have a discussion about it. So link to your blog, link to specific articles in your blog. Eventually, we hope that you'll want to make ITNinja your home for blogging, but not necessary. We know everything's not going to be here, and we're happy just to be able to aggregate that information as it's available outside. And finally, along the lines of points, there's under About, there's also a Ninja Points FAQ where you can see what the different belt levels are and at what point you reach different milestones. But there's also a blog post out here showing off our giveaways and at what point you can receive those. So our easiest one to get is the ITNinja sticker. That only costs you 176 points. And like I said, if you have an app-deploy account, then you came over with 125. T-shirts. If you participated in our beta, which we had running for months, thanks to all that provided such valuable feedback, the first 300 to get to their blue belt, or 351 points, will get one of these shirts. And that is different than it was in beta. So if you're a beta participant and you hit the advertised milestone, don't worry, you'll get your shirt. And like I said, we've got a black belt for the first 100 people to reach that black belt milestone. And with that, let me take it back to the presentation so that we can answer some questions. Lisa.
I'll just do a quick summary here, and then we'll get going on your questions and answers. But I just wanted to re-summarize, we did the survey to really validate kind of the direction that we're going with ITNinja. And you guys are, what we heard from our participants was you guys are using it, you like it, but you actually need a better resource. And ITNinja is really trying to listen to that. And we're building off of the well-established appdeploy.com community. So it's already a really robust community. It's not a brand new one, and it brings with it all of the members and knowledge that it had. And looking forward, ITNinja is really trying to be your go-to product agnostic resource. And again, I really want to emphasize that it is a product agnostic resource. It's a crowdsourcing tool for you guys to use and really get a lot of the in-depth answers and questions that you need. It's a free resource as well, so it's not associated with CACE. We're just a sponsor of the site and keep it going. With that, I will start with our questions here. And while the questions are going, I'm going to leave this resource tab up. And you guys can see there's a lot of great places for you to come and find information. With our first question here, Bob, people want to know about their old account. If they signed up with AppDeploy, do they need to sign up again with ITNinja?
Nope, certainly don't. The accounts still exist. We migrated them over along with everything else. You'll be able to use the same credentials. There have been some people that have wanted to change their user ID or their email address. If you, too, want to change one of those things, you'll find you can't right now. We had to pick a time that the site was ready enough to start being used so we can collect the valuable feedback that we're now getting. And we didn't wait until we got everything under the sun polished and ready to go. So when you run into a situation like that, just use the contact form. There's a link on the bottom of every page, and we can help you with that. All content has been credited, like I said, based on a curve. You've got some points already. And then you've got points from your AppDeploy patch too. So if your account was migrated over and you came to the site, couldn't log in and created a new account, then you don't have your patch and you don't have your 125 points. So if that is you, again, use that contact form and let us help you out. There is a feature that's working to allow you to reset your password. So if you've forgotten your password, you're okay. But if maybe you have a very old email account that that is no longer active, you might have some trouble using that feature. So do reach out to us.
Great. There's some privacy questions that people are asking. What are you going to do with the contact information to become a member, or are they going to be marketed to when joining ITNinja?
Very good question. Very happy to say that CACE from the beginning and now Dell has been very supportive in helping to maintain the site as an independent community that is not a product site. You do find product-specific questions on the site peppered in alongside everything else, and that's been the case on AppDeploy for quite some time. But the site is meant to be for everyone, regardless of what products you use. And to foster that, we explicitly do not market to anyone. You'll find very little branding at all on the site right now. no banners, and then the information you provide is not going to be used for marketing purposes whatsoever.
Great. We've got a couple of questions on belt levels and how they get more information about points. So could you maybe show that screen again, Bob, real quick?
Sure. We've got a couple of FAQs on the site, and they're all right under the About menu. So in this case, you'd want to go to About and ITNinja points. And here you can see the different activity that's worth varying amounts of points. As we support additional features on the site or activities on the site, we'll be updating this to reflect what their value will be. And then as far as the belt system goes, we have all the different belts and what levels right here. And then below that, some of the patches that we currently have, some of the ones we have planned, and what they're worth, what they mean. It's also worth pointing out that on your profile, where we show what your current belt is, we also show how many points to the next level. So right now, I'm happy to be a 4th degree green belt, and if I continue contributing and participating on the site, 9 more points will get me to the next level. I can upload my avatar, which I neglected to do. And while I'm in here, for those things that you follow, they're listed under interest. So if I followed any software or topics, they'd be listed here. Anything that I contribute, I automatically follow. And then this is the activity feed, which you can get to from the top of the page by clicking Activity. And you'll see all the recent things that have been happening with your material. So I posted some blogs, and I've got a bunch of comments. So now I can come right here and know right where to jump in to see what's been going on at ITNinja.
And Bob, while you're still sharing, because we're getting a lot of great feedback, you guys are providing direct feedback of what you'd like to see in ITNinja. We encourage you to participate in the feedback on ITNinja so we can capture that information. So Bob, can you walk them through quickly, since you're screen sharing, how to do that?
Sure. Like I said, there's a contact link at the bottom of every page in the footer, and then this feedback button will take you into our user voice system. And in user voice, you can find what other people have already suggested for new features and feedback, and vote them up or down, and you can also make your own suggestions. And,
right.
And we have, we are continually going to be developing and enhancing the site. So what you're seeing here now is just a starting point. In 2 weeks, it's going to be better. 2 weeks after that, it's going to be even better. This is just a starting point, and the feedback that we get weighs heavily in how we focus our attention to further develop the site. So please do give us that feedback.
Great. And then there's a question here about tech information from other sites and linking back maybe to other resources. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how ITNinja helps?
Sure. Under links, you can see we've already had some people contributing some helpful links. There's the download for Chrome, the MSI version. So you could find that under links, but also you'll find that on the software page for Google Chrome because it does have the Google Chrome tag. A lot of people are sharing links to different resources that they like. This was a pretty good one. This is an index of command line tools available from the Windows command line. So just when you're contributing these things, please do be sure to tag them as best you can. If you don't find the tag you're looking for, we have a form where you can request additional tags. This will be more automated in the future, but right now, where taking that feedback and manually creating the tags after the fact. But we are also provided a link to the content that you were creating when you asked for the tag, so we'll be able to proactively go in and add those tags to your material once we add it.
Great. And there's questions about this eventually becoming a paid site. There's concerns. So could you speak a little bit about that, Bob?
Yeah, I can tell you that there's been no talk of doing that. So like I said, from the very beginning, you know, what was it now, 5 years ago that Dell KACE, or KACE at the time, acquired AppDeploy. They've been super supportive of keeping it an independent, free community. They're well aware of the fact that if they threw KACE all over it, or now Dell all over it, and made it a Dell site, that it would scare a lot of people off. And we find great value in it being the place that everybody comes to discuss these topics, and not just customers, just because of the fact that the larger the community and the more people just participating, the better the material inevitably will become.
Great. And we are at the top of the hour, and I know that you guys all have to go. We see a lot of questions coming in here. Again, if there's feedback for the site, please use the feedback button and provide that information. Check out the FAQ site, the FAQ link on ITNinja. There should be a lot of great content and information there. We also have a quick little video that's a summary of how to do things on here, so please check those things out. Follow ITNinja on Twitter. It's ITNinja site, and like the Facebook page. You guys can get updated on a lot of information. If you have any other questions, you can use those resources as well. There is a LinkedIn group for ITNinja. It is the AppDeploy group, which is going to be changing to LinkedIn. So if you looked up AppDeploy and join it, you can be part of the ITNinja group. And with that, and then we hope that you enjoy ITNinja. And thank you so much for coming and joining us for our event.
Thanks a lot, everyone.